All right, welcome back to the podcast. We found Justin. We're not sure if he needs help. Justin, are you all right there?
I hold a sign that says August 12th.
He's unshaven in an
I'm
unfinished
good.
room.
I'm in the closet at the studio. I haven't finished the walls. I'll paint something sometime.
Okay. Well, it's good to have you from whatever location you join us from. Guys, I posed a question to you that I actually got this question from a listener. He was asking about driver versus iron swings. And like, is it a different swing? Is it a different feel? Or should it be the same? Should it be the same feels? And I thought it was a great kind of starting point because I know a lot of golfers that have had this question if they just need to chill out on the driver and like keep it smooth. And like, that's how I'm going to get some control of it. Or are they totally different? So that's the question. Luke has a fantastic analogy.
He's got a demonstration or a few videos, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys probably have noticed for a while, right? The trend is going towards more vertical force and jumping on driver. So like I looked at, okay, how many guys that graduated from the Korn Ferry Tour to the PGA Tour jump on their driver, and it's over 50% last year.
How do you define jump? Is it both feet off the ground?
Leave the ground with the lead foot at least, and where it's maybe moving a bit, right? And so if you look about how that works, like, and this is where Justin and I think we can get into the like minutia. And I've been studying this more and more because I think it's really interesting. Like, are you actually pushing off your toe when you jump, or are you using your ankle and your foot as like a rigid lever to push off the ground? And there's some difference there. It's not like we're talking Achilles tendon is launching like you're jumping off a diving board. Do you know what I mean? Do you have any comments there, Justin?
That's interesting. Keep going.
So like how you get your left hip down and forward, people that are listening, you're getting into that left hip. And then as you get down, like you can either go like jump off the toe and like go straight up. And that would be like a soft sort of like jump straight up. But most of them are actually going in a left foot and they're pushing off that like a rigid lever, and their foot leaves the ground at the right time. And it's just before impact usually, right? But the straightening starts happening at probably P55s, where you start
shaft
to see
vertical. Shaft vertical. Yeah.
Which is arms P55-ish, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that's when you start to see that kinematic sequence really start changing. And I think you'll see a difference when people are doing that really actively and straightening the leg versus the people that are just more rotating into the left heel. So I call it the cannon and the anchor. The anchor is where you're basically just getting into your left heel and you're turning your hips. And then there's the guys that literally stall and jump. We saw Jackson Koivun and you saw that. My thoughts?
So on the irons and wedges, pretty grounded. And then with the driver.
Yeah. And so
but there's got to be a point though. Because there are, I think the jumping continues through some of the longer irons, right? Like it's not just if it's an iron, you're on the ground kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I've got Caleb here, Korn Ferry guy. He's a really good ball striker. And you can see this is an iron. And you can see that amount of pushing off the ground.
Super stable.
It's pretty stable. And then when he goes driver, he's even more in the air, and both legs straighten even harder. And so the more the legs straighten fast, the more the pelvis slows down.
You have a driver on here?
Kind of aggressive. I don't have a driver handy. I can find one, but that's what I'm seeing. Okay. I'll see if I can load one up while you guys chat about it.
Well, let's back up. We go right into the weeds. Driver, right? Ball position more forward. So what is the resultant path going to be relative to an iron most of the time? With a driver, most of the time, the resultant path is going to be a little bit more left for a right-handed golfer, a little bit more out to in for the average golfer. So this is where it gets interesting because you could have, the same swing direction and draw your 8-iron and the same swing direction and fade your driver, right? So before we get super vertical force talk, ball position will be more forward. You might see more fade dominant patterns. See some people try to cancel that out by closing their stance a little bit to try to zero it out. The other thing you'll see is usually you'll see a little bit more spine tilted away from the target, right? To try to create a little more side bend, to try to create a little bit more upward angle of attack. So there's your elementary, I guess, explanation.
I I just want to name drop and sound cool. When I was filming with Alex Fitzpatrick, he was talking about fading the drive. Like, literally what he does. He said, I fade all my drivers and I draw my irons. So like that is, I think that's interesting to hear, because most people would assume like your stock shot is the same throughout the bag.
But your club can be moving the exact same way through the ball, but relative to where you're striking that ball on the arc, the path is completely different. So,
and so going back into data golf, I think we talked about this, the shot shape argument. There's more guys hitting little draws with their short clubs and definitely more fades with their driver.
We're going to go I want to tangent hard because I'm going to plug my newsletter that I send out every Thursday morning. In last week's newsletter, there was this great little YouTube video of Tiger and Carl Phillips, of just kind of like Carl was warming up and Tiger was just kind of talking to him. It was the most like unscripted. It was really pretty awkward, honestly, of just like Tiger trying to host a show or a program. And they were just kind of chatting, and Tiger's like, yeah, my warm up is draw fade, draw fade, draw fade, draw fade. Constantly. He's like, I'm always going back and forth. I'm trying to find the quote here.
I thought you were supposed to hit a stock shot every time.
Luke, you can't comment on this. This is a Justin and I conversation. Tiger said, so in my warm up, I'm always going back and forth between draws, cuts, high lows. I never hit the same shot twice. I'm dancing back and forth. I'm trying to dance that line so that when I get on the golf course, I already know what my feels are going to be for that day. And then Carl was like, I like to see a repetitive ball flight, and then I'll do a little bit of shot shaping at the end. And so I think it's definitely probably a time thing, right? Because Tiger's grown up mid-90s. And Carl, obviously very, modern golfer. But I just thought that was fascinating on the shot shaping debate. Okay, I'm done. Those are good quotes.
That was a great plug. Everyone, Cordy has a newsletter he sends out.
Yeah. I don't know if Justin reads it, but there are 26,999 other people that do.
I should read it.
Maybe you should. I work hard on it every frickin' Thursday morning and Wednesday night.
Nice.
That's what I'm doing.
I'm going to start one. Love it.
All right.
That's great stuff.
Okay. Sorry. That was shot shaping tangent. Back to our iron versus driver.
Can I do a face on of this is driver mode?
Okay.
So this is a freezer. So I'm trying to illustrate the cannon. And so the big turn, and you can see how the chest keeps turning back while the mass is going down and forward. And you guys know I love parallax because you can basically have a launch monitor, or it looks like a poor man's force plate. So you can see where the mass is going. So I'm going down over that lead foot. And that's not going to change very much from an iron to a driver, but the magnitude of force will be higher, right? But you're going down over it, and then the lead leg's straightening pretty hard. And I always do it too late. If you do it too late, you have too much shaft lean, which we talked about. But you can see how the lead foot's off the ground. And I think a big thing is like the direction of this lead foot. If it's towed in more, you can probably straighten it even earlier. If it's flared a little bit more, the force vector might be more rotational or back towards the middle of your stance more.
Do you think at P4.5 you have more spine tilt away from the target than you do with a 9-iron?
100%. And that's where, like, if you wanted to solve a lot of it with setup, you just play the ball forward. I always go back to Hogan's book. We've talked about this, I think. Like, Hogan had the ball, he had a stance much more close to driver, and the wedges were more.
He knew the swing direction versus
he was so far ahead of it.
Yes.
That's where I believe the driver is going to be more closed stances in the future for that reason.
So angle of attack, I was looking the other day, I'm hitting up on the ball like 7 to 9 degrees up right now.
It should be going far.
It goes along. Yes. I am optimized to shit, right? It just goes really high or low spin, and it goes a good distance. Is there too much? Like, what's the line of like, hey, this is not good for your swing or what you're doing?
How many tour pros are more than 3 degrees up?
Probably not many.
Maybe Rory hitting a draw.
Yeah.
Is it generally around 3? Is that the?
I think it's dependent on your swing speed too. Like Mrs. Haverkamp, if she struggles, if she's like 52 mile an hour with the driver, hit up on that baby. But at some point, I think there's a reason. What is the tour average now? Do we trust the TrackMan tour average?
It used to be -1. I think it's moving towards 0, but I still think it's more like negative.
I heard it's something somewhere. Someone completely thinks that that's like false.
Like they're hitting up on it now?
Like the average is way off. Yeah. Oh. I don't remember who it was. I don't know why they would lie.
Well, and you saw Aaron Rai. Did you see his numbers and what he does?
No.
He plays the ball way back in his stance. And he's very wide, but he doesn't have a whole lot of vertical. And his attack angle is definitely on the negative, and he spins it at like 3,000 and launches it at 7. Like, wow. None of it makes sense. He's given up 20 yards on spin, maybe more.
How fast is he?
He's
lower than 120.
He's like, I think he's in that 170 ball speed or low 170s, but it's not efficient. It doesn't go very far.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Here, I've got some scientific data here to go through.
I love how you bring the science.
Thank you. Here's Michael Brennan, -3. Or that's a 3-wood. I'm sorry. Yeah. God. Wow, that could have really gone off the rails quickly.
Science.
Here we go. Højgaard, 4.
2,200 spin. Is that what that said?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, and he's teeing it pretty low too, right? I mean, it's kind of hard for the amateur to hit up on the ball with a tee that low because they can't get shallow enough. Do you know what I mean?
They don't have the arc depth. No, they don't. Yep. And they don't have the arc depth skill. There's one up. What's the spin on that? 2,500.
Dude, that's weird. That's funny you mentioned that. That Tiger and Carl video. Tiger's talking about how low they tee it up. Like Tiger was like, yeah, if I wanted to really bomb it, he kind of barely teed it up, like barely over the edge of his driver.
Tiger does some stuff that nobody else does.
That's true.
I don't take divots, says Tiger.
That might have been a bit, though. I don't know if that was real.
0.0 2,000.
So they're getting closer to 0. I think we'd agree. I don't know if they're on the positive side, but I do agree it's changing. There you go.
I've been like that guy.
That is very low spin there, isn't it?
2,400.
3 up, 312.
Who's this? Here we go. There you go. There's the most so far.
6 up, 5.6. Look at that ball speed. So, like, I think there's always been this argument that, like, oh, yeah, I'm fast enough. I'm going to hit down on it, launch it lower, spin it more. Maybe they have, like, a shot that they do for that. Maybe they do tee it lower and cover it more.
I'm going to bring back, like the advantage of maybe hitting one more fairway for giving up 10 yards of distance is not worth it. Just like when we talked about, I sent you the ping data, like you do hit it a little straighter when you curve it a little more, but it is not worth it. You lose strokes when you curve the ball.
Okay. So let's go back driver versus this. So you're talking about the jumping aspect is much more emphasized on the driver.
Yeah.
Of the jumping aspect, let's talk about that a little bit, because a few ways that I've seen that is everybody jumps too late. If you see a swing video of somebody, they're in the air. They're typically totally in the air when the ball is getting hit because they've put all the force down back here.
Right.
And then so they're in the air.
Yes.
And then talk to me about if you are jumping sideways, like backwards, or just up and down, because like what's the importance of that?
Like your left ear usually.
Yeah so it's like the direction of the foot flare but towards your left ear. I totally agree.
I have some thoughts on the jumping too early, because everyone always says or jumping too late. Everyone's like, oh, your vertical force is late. I definitely think part of this goes to Dr. Kwong. He did a presentation for the Minnesota section a few years ago. Anyway, it's about like, okay, how would you jump earlier? Well, you would need force moving down into your lead leg earlier. How would you get force down into your lead leg earlier? You would have to be unweighting and raising your center of mass earlier. So he's like, everyone's trying. God, now I'm going to be Luke. I'm going to stand up. Okay. Everyone's trying to get pressured down, but they never get pressured down and forward to start the backswing and then unweight themselves in the backswing. They get up here with nothing and then wonder why they can't create vertical force. Like, you've got to unweight yourself. You've got to get pressure moving right. and then feel your center of mass rising, right side of your body elevating, feeling tall. And then in late transition, that's when you can start to get pressure down. Now you can push up at P5. Okay. Before, when you weren't doing anything, right? You're just sitting here chilling. It's like, oh man, I'm late. Well, yeah, you didn't start with enough energy in the system to have a chance to be on time. So what I see with people that are late with their vertical force is if you can get them to do Rory's little like down and right trigger and then feel like their center of mass is rising as they sort of go from P2.5 to P3.5, P4, then they can get pressure down and forward earlier and then spike that vertical force earlier. But usually they're focused on the wrong thing. They're like, oh, I got to push earlier. And they get here and they go like this. And it's like, why was that? It's like, no, you got to get energy in the system at the right time.
The swing starts before the swing starts.
Yes, P0. Lead foot pushing.
Do you ever teach that where you like lift the right heel off the ground and then go into the right heel? I do that like that. So I got that from my grandpa. My grandpa, Kenyan Country Club. It's where I learned the game originally. And
you lived in Kenya?
Kenyan.
Oh.
It was in Faribault, near Faribault, Minnesota, not Kenya.
Like wow.
But my grandpa, back in the day, he caddied for Bobby Jones when the U.S. Open was in town a long time ago.
You can't just name drop that. Hold on.
That's so long ago. But anyway, all those old timers did this. They'd lift their right heel or trail heel, and then they'd start their king. They like kick that knee. You guys know that move, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what do you say? Hold on. Lift the right heel?
I'm going to just show you. So they'd start like this, and they lift this foot, and then they go back into it.
Oh, so yeah.
They pull forward press and then go, and that's position 0.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a Berkshire, like long drive thing, a little bit, right?
And it's 150 years old,
Yeah.
Nothing modern about it. So here's the interesting thing. When you look at like the good swings today are getting way more biomechanically better, but there's a lot more moving parts. We went through this phase. Really, it started in the 80s, but certainly in the 90s and early 2000s, where everybody's trying to take the legs out of it. And, Justin, you were almost after it. Do you feel like you got message that? Because I got it all the time. I was like, all right, I'm just going to build on stable base and not turn my hips, because that's what Tiger would.
Yeah, you would read a lot about it. But now I think when I was getting taught, no, we were past that. We were past restrict the lower body, all that stuff.
But anyway, it's funny, like we're coming back to the old school mechanics, because back before video and everybody's just kind of watching and modeling everybody, their legs and biomechanics were quite a bit better.
How did that era go? Because, you go look at Sam Snead and you see a right leg that is completely not flexed at the top. Yeah. You see the left knee moving down. Like, there's no restriction there. Is it because they had the baggiest pants on in the world? Everyone's like, oh, no, you just can't see it. Like, how did we get to that point? You're old enough, I'm not.
Here's what I think happened. So if you watch how people move when they model behavior and there is not much video, and they don't believe that there's an advantage to restrict degrees of freedom, because we got into that really in the 80s when I think Ledbetter and Faldo and some guys were like tightening everything up to be more controlled. And so people lost a lot of speed, probably. They might have got stronger in the 80s, but people were not hitting it farther in the 80s and 90s. And then you got like a John Daly who had incredible biomechanics, and we should have been modeling John Daly a lot more. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think, there's this move back toward athleticism and like kind of like, hey, this is an athletic sport. It's explosive. Like, we're going to train explosive in the gym. You're an athlete, get strong, get fast, and then we're going to do it out on the golf course as well. Like that has changed dramatically. Even, so what I've been doing this for 10 years, and that has become now the norm. As it definitely wasn't when I was, it was definitely fringe when I was, kind of getting started. So I guess the question that everyone's asking then is like, with this driver iron thing, like, how can it be different? Like, that sounds really hard. Everything you guys are describing of like, I have to make a different swing on the tee box, and then I got to go hit a wedge shot.
Here's what I'd say. When you go to hit a 30-yard pitch, are you thinking, oh, now I got to keep my feet on the ground and I got to make my pitching swing? Or do you react?
It's all reactionary and intent.
Exactly.
Right? And giving yourself permission to let the lead foot leave the ground, lift your left heel, whatever you want to do. Like, if your intent, this goes back to old school teaching too. I think if I wanted to teach you how to create high amounts of vertical force, I would put a tree in front of you and tell you to figure out how to tee it up and hit it over the tree. I bet you would learn to get your spine tilted to the right, that you would learn to push really hard off your lead leg and hit way up on the ball. I guarantee you would. Otherwise, you're going to smash it in the middle of the tree 15 times. So I think like in the olden days, didn't slicers just like you take a lesson as a slicer? What did the coach tell you? Oh, he put me behind this tree and he told me to figure out how to hook it around it, right?
What's funny is that's exactly what the science indicates is like you always start with the external cue, the task driving the change. The affordance will lead towards the change. And if the person can't do it or the mechanics result in, you're not meeting the motor equivalents you need, then you change the mechanics in another way.
Well, the role of the coach is to hopefully expedite the learning environment. So saying like, instead of just putting you the tree there and having you figured out over 4 hours, that hopefully the coach, like you guys, can make it 20 minutes, right? Isn't that the whole point of like what you're trying to do?
First thing is you put the student behind the tree and you see if they can figure it out without anything. And if they hit the tree and it comes back at their balls, now you give them a cue of how do you get it started right, curved around the tree, right? Like you try to let them figure it out the best you can and then give them the tools if they need it. Am I right? Like Justin, I'll ask you this, I feel like there was a couple lessons early in my career where I was like, okay, I really need this guy to get the path more inside out and hit a draw here. And I was trying to fool around with their setup and the right shoulder. And instead I should have just explained, hey, make the club go this way and just get the job done. And they could do it.
Yeah, you have to start with the concept first.
Yeah, make sure they unload concept first.
Absolutely. And then be like, okay, you have to make sure, like I always tell people, like, I'm going to explain this to you as elementary as I can. And then before we hit another ball, you got to tell me what I just, like, you got to re-explain it to me. And if they can do that, they've got a really good chance at sort of self-organizing what we want them to do. But it goes back to your intent. Like, think about like when you're on a par 3 and it's into the wind and it's 188 and the pin's in the back and you're like, man, I'd really like to see this one flight, a little bit lower. You may slide forward a little more. You may play the ball a little bit more back. You may probably not jump a lot. All that stuff is reactionary. You're not thinking.
I don't even think it's may. I think it's will. You will.
Yeah. You absolutely
will. Oh, okay. I'm throwing my hand.
No, hold on. I gotta do this first. I saw. I can't remember. It was a podcast. Can't remember who it was. Not going to name drop, so I don't know. He was at the British Open. He was coaching, and apparently the wind was 25 off the left all day long on the range, and every single one of his players that came back to him after the British Open, path was way left, attack angle way down, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? They adapted to their environment because their brain wanted to see their ball land on the target, even though the wind was whipping. It should have finished 40 yards this way, but they wanted, because they're so caught up in how good they are at golf, they need their ball to land on the target. Their impact dynamics got screwed up.
Yeah, do not practice a lot in a crosswind.
No, I want to call BS on the whole react thing. I know a lot of like mid handicaps, 10 plus, are not going to do that. They're not going to react and like automatically like slide a little bit or put it back or like get that shot like that you're kind of describing like that. I mean, I think you're just describing someone who's like athletic, has a bit of talent.
So I think there's obviously a line here. If I gave a golfer who's never touched a golf club and I said, hey, it's 188, I want you to slide 2 inches more forward. But of course not. But I have seen Luke with a training aid. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about. Give a guy that used to slice the bananas out of it, 30 handicap, and he has a training aid. This guy in 10 balls was swinging 10 from the inside.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that.
You're 100% right. Skill level is big, right? So if they don't have a whole lot of skill, they might not catch on to the task and be able to change it. So like I'll go to the research a little bit. So when you look at like triple jumpers, high level triple jumpers, their first stride and their second stride are not that consistent, but they will make sure the third stride is ideal for the launch they need. And what that means is like people self-organize around the task to solve it. You go into Bernstein's hammer again, like I'm hammering the nail, but I'm not doing it the same way, but I can solve the problem. The higher level of skill has more solutions to the problem. And so if you put Tiger on a, number 7 at Pebble, and he's like trying to hit a low draw to that with a 6-iron from 130 yards, he's got all the skill in the world, and the wind is his affordance to bring out the action. A 25 handicap has no ability to mediate the skill, right?
So, Cordy, in that scenario, we are going to tell that 10 handicap, hey, to hit this ball over the tree, here would be what needs to happen? Can you tell me again, how are we going to hit this ball over the tree? Well, my spine's going to be tilted this way. The ball positions, whatever. Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's where you need to, like what I would say, like you need explicit knowledge to teach these things, but the better you can do using implicit and constraints, the better off you are, because then people understand how to manipulate their skills to the environment.
I heard, I did a short game clinic with James Seekman, genius. Okay. He's amazing. He said, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think he said 93% of what we know is intrinsic knowledge. We don't know why we know it, but we know it. He said the other 7 or 8% it's because you told me so. So like, I think that goes right in hand with what you're saying. Like, if you do give that guy 4 hours to hit the ball over the tree, he has a decent chance. Maybe he won't, but he's got a chance, right? I also read, I can't remember who said this. I should remember these things. Someone said Scottie Scheffler is not the most consistent. He's the most adaptable. And I think that is like the best overarching statement for this conversation. Ball above his feet, 2 inches below his feet. He's an inch closer to the ball, an inch farther from the ball. Doesn't matter. He's going to hit it to 10 feet.
Can we go? Sorry, another tangent. This is just pure speculation. There's no reason to really go down this rabbit hole. But do you think the grip thing is that important that he was obsessed about or not?
I don't think it's not important, but I got to tell you, I think it's probably more of this feels comfortable and I feel safe and at home now that I know my grip is correct. But
it makes no difference anymore. It's completely habit.
Yeah, that's what I would say. So too. Maybe like once every 2 or 3 weeks, like checking it and making sure you're not deviating one way or the other. I think Mark Blackburn was at TPI with Charlie Hoffman or someone, and he had guessed that the radial bone on the lead arm was rotated 20 degrees weaker, and the face was open and he wasn't rotating as much. And they measured it, and yes, according like back to 2016, it was a little bit like weaker. So over time, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's a comfort thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't think it makes a difference.
Why would you not do it if it makes the number one in the world feel good,
Totally. I think he can hit a lot of good shots with a lot of different grips, though, probably.
Yeah.
And there's another one like that kind of back into it. Like the better the player, the more they can they can hold the club with a different grip and actually hit the ball straight.
Yep.
So people are face aware when they have high skill. So if you give them a weak grip, now they bow it. Have you noticed this, Justin?
Oh, just automatically. Yes. Of course.
And they're face aware. They know where the face needs to be. And so it's really interesting. They had talked about this, like, again, motor equivalence and high skilled people, they solve the problem in different ways. And if you like learn how to use your right hand really well, like if you lift really hard with your right arm, your left arm gets stronger too. There's bilateral things that go on, and we can solve problems in different ways. And high skilled people can do it different ways. And that's where the whole idea, you guys know my belief in too much block practice, it actually limits the amount you can do. If you think about like the array of like you can do like a bell curve of skill, like you don't want one spike with the only sort of shot you're going to get on the range. You want it all.
Okay, let's go back to our driver versus iron thing. Another thing I want to talk about with the driver versus iron is the idea. I heard this on the range the other day. I love listening on the range. One of my favorite hobbies.
The science. I heard this guy.
No, it was a negative thing. Like tour pros, and this is a common myth. Tour pros swing their drivers at 80%, right? We've all heard that. You've heard that, right? Like they're not swinging all out.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Am I the only one that's ever heard this?
It's ridiculous. They do swing. So here's the thing. Everybody, when they say they're swinging at 80%, they're actually swinging around 90 to 95, maybe even 98%, right?
Yes.
I think so. I think that most, like, they might have maybe 2 to 4 more of club speed in there if they wanted, if they're really warmed up and like everything was.
I will say this,
well.
There's a big range, and a lot of it is kind of affordance driven in terms of how accurate they are. So the people that hit 70% or more fairways, and I've coached a couple of gals that are really, really good, LPGA Tour players, they swing close to max way more often. The guys hit 50% of the fairways and can swing at 130, do not swing at 130, they swing at 120. Tony Finau does not rip it because he does not hit it straight enough, so he doesn't swing hard. It's logic. It's kind of like if you know you can jump the puddle and you're safely over, swing, go as much as you can, but if you're not sure, go around the puddle.
I got a whole new analogy to work on, the puddle analogy.
Or Instagram. with
Sorry, somebody sets though.
Somebody clip that. Can you jump the puddle?
I mean, so like it's really interesting watching kids. Like they know what they can pull off. Can they jump over this little creek? Then they do it. If you know you can hit a fairway and swing hard, you will swing harder.
I can't tell you. I don't play that much golf, but I can't tell you the last time I didn't try to absolutely hammer it. And when I start to try to hit it slow, I hit it everywhere. So more
there's
everywhere.
Also that some people don't have the ability because everything's matched up at high speed, and that's just is what it is, right?
You know why they don't is they don't freaking warm up and get like their body ready to hit it hard either. Anyways, it's a whole nother tangent that I strongly believe in.
But I don't think 80% is accurate. I think, like Luke said, we've seen Tony Finau get like 205 ball speed, right? But then he gains it at like 180, 185.
Yeah. So let's go back to our driving, like in general, right? So the intent is, gosh, we got Luke on the move. I got
a cat that needs to get outside. Keep going, Corey.
This is great. I like this a lot. Okay, so with our driver, with our intent, I liked a lot what you talked about with like testing out some of that Sam Snead, or for us modern folks, Kyle Berkshire, a little pressure shift to get moving, because you have to get there to unweight to get the force back down, so you can jump back and get the force down that you need, because your intent is we're swinging really hard and we're swinging fast. Anything I missed there with the driver?
Oh, I think you got it. Like,
okay,
we talked about the little like P0 move.
I think the one kind of interesting thing is like so much of driver is just similar to long drive, right? The mechanics, but I always like to differentiate the difference between PGA Tour and long drive is a lot of radial in your wrist too. So there's a lot of guys that are trying to keep it wider, even though the lower body's cranking pretty hard. Whereas on long drive, you let it crank here a lot more.
Agreed? And usually a stronger grip matchup with that to double down on that radial.
The double barrel grip. You familiar with that term from Golf Machine? So you got strong left, weak right, double barrel that thing.
That thing double radial. And
do you guys see the Sean Foley clips from? He did an interview talking about. Who was he talking about?
Michael Kim. Somebody else.
I don't know who's using the 10-finger grip. Oh my gosh, my mind just went blank.
Thor Bjornsson.
Yes, yeah. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Have you ever worked with students with 10-finger grips? And he was talking about the ability to release it more, and I noted it and made some notes on it because I thought it was so interesting. I hadn't heard that
a podcast with Sean. I think he was talking about Thor. I don't know the swing. Does he lower a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is really interesting. It goes back to some of the stuff we were talking about. Sean was talking about like, what do you have him do to not lower so much? He's like, just hit fairway bunker shots. He's got to hit 100 a day. Like, that's a beautiful get behind the tree and hit it over the tree. Like, that's a great. He's like, he doesn't lower nearly as much in a fairway bunker shot. So I thought that was interesting. Good coaching, obviously.
Yeah, got it. Okay, and then back to our
I did not answer the 10-finger question. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Have you ever thought about it?
I'll give you one. I had a guy who was like a pretty solid D1 player that came in with a 10-finger grip. At the time, he was like fringe, not roster guy, but he's like number 6 guy, and he had a 10-finger grip. And it's end of the fall, and I was like, all right, we're going to switch this over. And I wasn't sure if it was the right play. And within 2 weeks, he was like, there's no way I would ever switch back. And I've switched a lot of good players from 10-finger into overlap or interlock, and I've never, ever felt like it was the wrong thing to do.
Luke, you did a thing one time, or you shared with me a thing one time. You did a spreadsheet on interlock versus overlap, top 100 in the world. And interlock was 64, overlap 37.
Yeah. Interlock's won over the last 2 decades now. And
interesting.
40 years ago, it was overlap.
Usually, if someone is really slow, like not a lot of clubhead speed, I'll let them interlock. I think it helps them create more radial, and it helps them close the face if they're a slicer. I think the further apart your hands get on the grip, the easier it is to close the face. Maybe that I can't say.
For sure. That, I mean, when you take a beginner and you give them the interlock or the overlap, they slice it the first 5 swings, don't they?
Yeah.
That's just the moment arm of where you have the grip and the space.
Cordy's
you
searching
say,
for something.
Well, I'm just, you said, I'm looking for that. I think Luke Kerdening did sheet 2 on it, so I was looking for it. But if you said I can swing faster with an interlock, I'm gonna go try that out just later today because I'm in overlap. So
go try the double interlock, Cordy.
Just left hand low, I heard, is picking up steam.
I mean, how about going back to the Jim Furyk and the double overlap grip and that face control?
That's true. Wait, is that what he does?
Double overlap for Jim Furyk.
I had no idea.
And best face control, I would argue, of anybody since what's his name?
Calvin
Peete, yeah.
Huh.
That bent left arm across the line. Why does Justin teach players to not lay it off? Just kidding. I do some people. I've gave more lessons this week, probably telling people to pronate their lead arm late backswing than I have in a long time. Good matchup for short backswings.
Are we done with the shallowing? Is that phase over?
No,
now?
We got to keep talking.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I can't believe that word made it into this podcast. Oop, up the YouTube rankings right there.
Are we not?
Transcript found it.
Justin Kraft done with shallowing. No more.
Get steeper.
Get steeper.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, and then so the intent of the driver, we're hitting it hard. The intent of the irons is like, I don't know. This is something I heard growing up as well. We're trying to roll the right foot instead of letting it, like pop up like you do on a driver. Are there any different cues or is the cue just like we're just staying on the ground more with the iron?
I mean, it's just more rotation with the pelvis, less lift. Right.
Yep. So less vertical force. I mean, there's no one that jumps with an iron. There's nobody, right? It's like,
I can show you Caleb with the 7er, and there's a little jump there. But it's not
anterior, posterior jump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Moving away. It's like Scottie.
It would be really interesting to see where the lead foot starts and then how much it moves, what direction and how much does it move for each. Like this player moved 1 inch back, 2 inches forward. Like that would be so interesting. And the foot flared 3 more degrees. Like that would be really cool. I don't know what I would do with that data, but it'd be cool to see.
You guys are saying foot flare is a direct relation to where you're obviously, because you can't, if your foot is flared, you're pushing that way. It's going to go back that way. So, or if it's straight on, it's pushing that way, going back that way. So foot flare is really important then.
If you ever try to go pigeon toe where your lead toe is like in,
yeah,
like you will definitely stall your sequence and your hips will go up instead of around.
Huh.
Like it definitely changes how you use the ground.
I guess you shouldn't be very cavalier with a foot flare then.
I don't think, I've never told someone to do something different with their right foot with an iron versus a driver. I'm going to let that motor pattern be what it is. And I think a lot of times that right leg or the banking of the foot or not is again related to how much lift versus how much rotation players have. Also the flexibility in that ankle joint. I don't know if it's eversion and inversion. I think it's something like that. Like I have almost no eversion. I can't bank my right foot very well. And my knee loves to crowd the ball. So like, do I love it for aesthetics? No. Does it help me rotate my pelvis more when I let my heel come up? Yes. So if I had more range of motion right there, I'd have a prettier swing. But that's it.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Can I share a screen and I'll show you Caleb's move? Because
please.
This is it's kind of cool. So this is Caleb hitting 7-iron, and I think he's swinging hard, but look at that.
Huh.
His face control is really, really good. But this is bordering on more like that jumping move.
Justin, Luke was talking to me about this double leg straightening maneuver situation, which Caleb does quite well here.
Right here,
where it's not just the lead leg that's straightening, but both of them. Kind of when you do that jump and rotate. What do you think about that double lead leg?
It's interesting. It would certainly stall the pelvis, right? Because if both legs are straight, how are you rotating? So really good way. Luke loves to teach. Luke teaches more players with too much shaft lean than anyone I know. So he's always looking for ways to get people wider and with less shaft lean. So I think he has found that, double straightening those legs helps players release these angles more. That's what I don't know where he gets them, but I got lots of players that cast the piss out of it, and I can't tell them to do that.
We talked about that, or we texted about that. Like, if you get low and you rotate, shaft lean's a piece of cake.
Yes, 100%.
So I feel like shaft lean, is not hard to teach if you can just do the right things to rotate.
And if you can have the club face good, shaft pitch good, keep your chest low to the ground, it's hard not to.
It's hard to have bad shaft lean if you just have good shallowing and rotation and covering. But it can be hard to release it when you're doing those things.
Should we talk about that, or is that super off? Should I talk about that? I love swing radius.
I've brought up many things on this podcast, Justin. You can go on any team.
So if the intent of the golfer, see if I can. If the intent of the golfer is to barely hit the ground with their iron, right? We have an established swing radius, and I'm not like the smartest person ever, but I can try to explain this, right? So, I can't back up any farther. But when our chest gets lower to the ground, think about like what you're doing to the club, the arc of the club, right? It's lowering it into the ground. Luke just got closer to the ground. If we changed nothing else, the club would get buried a foot below the earth if he lowers his chest a foot. So to sort of accommodate that, if the intent of the player is to barely skim the ground, we need to effectively make this golf club shorter. And the only way to do that is to add the lean to the shaft, because this club goes from 30 inches to now, 25 inches, 2 inches, 0 inches, right? So when you get your chest lower, it shortens the radius of the swing, and you have to accommodate that somehow. So as the chest gets lower, you'll typically see players start to lean it a little bit more. Luke, correct me if you think that that's a bad explanation.
No, it's exactly.
I see it all the time. Late backswing, people lifting their chest, and then why do I cast? Well, you're a mile from the ground. You're trying to get this club as long as you possibly can, so you don't top it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I agree 100%. And I would say it's kind of two things as well. When you think about what are you doing when you early extend, you're stalling your chest.
Yes.
And your arms are going to go out, and they are going to go like this. And then the handle is going to go up, and it's very much stalled. And so that's your way to basically let the club release. Now, if you're low and you're rotating, if you get the club here and you rotate, again, it's also the radius don't hit the ground, so you have to have the handle forward. But it's very easy when you have rotation to get lean, right? So I always look at like trunk angle and, like just getting on parallax and looking at if your chest is low and you're rotating, shaft lean's almost always good. And you can prove that to anybody. Like if you start at X degrees and you subtract 10 degrees of your trunk going down, you'll almost always have a lot of lean.
So what do you think about the double leg straightening, Justin?
What? That doesn't answer it?
Here's what I'll say. It's like you see Koepka and you see Koivu and a bunch of guys doing it, but it's a really good tool on driver if you have lead, isn't it?
For sure. And it's going to decelerate your pelvis a lot. It's going to help you. It's like braking forces, right? I don't know why those are picking up steam again on social media, all the braking drills and stuff like that. But great way to get energy to the club head, release the lean, get it wider, get it the angle of attack shallower, more dynamic loft. Like I think it's awesome.
Luke, could you show that that drill that you kind of have people do to work on the double straightening, the jump? I don't know what you call it, but
so this is like particularly with driver if you have way too much shaft lean. Here I'm just going to use a lighter because it's kind of fun. I don't have a club handy. So if I want the pelvis to slow down, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to feel like I get into my lead toe, and then I'm going to push both legs straight like this, and I'm going to keep my chest down as I do it. And if I do that, my arms start whipping through like this. So it feels like my hips are almost going backwards. You know how Rory and Koivu, they go here and then they push. And if you straighten both legs, your pelvis stalls really fast. And the only issue there would be, are you also extending your spine? Because if you're doing this, you're in trouble. But if you're doing this with the chest down, it's really
Where do you want the pelvis to be rotationally when that happens? Do you want it to be open or square to the ball?
It would depend on the player, but generally, like you still want to be open. There's nobody that's really good with a dead square pelvis. Like Brian Gay back in the day was like this, right? Very little rotation, not very fast, hit it razor straight. But most of them are here and then they stop.
So I guess my only pushback is if we look at the top 10 strokes gained off the tee, how many people are we going to see double straightening both legs? Strokes gained wide.
Rory does. Do you agree?
Yep, for sure. His pelvis is open, both legs straighten, and it reverses a little bit. Who else? DJ.
On driver. Scottie on driver.
Okay.
I mean, there's a continuum, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just trying to think of like great drivers of the ball. Do we see it? Do we not? And there's so many other matchups, right? Where's the face? How low is the chest? All these other things we've talked about. There's a million things that go into it, but
where's Bryson with that trail leg in terms of straightening?
I need more model swings on my phone.
Here you go. Here's your top strokes gained off the tee. Neil Shipley, Michael Brennan, Scottie Scheffler, Gary Woodland, Keith Mitchell. Top 5.
I meant in the shot link era. That's what I meant. Sorry, I think it's DJ, Bubba.
My bad. My bad on that one.
So I think here's what I would say. Like there's a continuum of how much rotation versus just up you want. And I think you match that to the lean of the player. And you can also do a better job of lengthening the swing and getting more torso turn. Like you can just turn bigger and that can satisfy more early release versus just jumping. And I think for most players, this is preferable because that loads the spring bigger. And you still want the hips to turn. It's just that some people need to break better.
Rory, Bubba, and DJ are all top 5 shot link era. Strokes gained.
I say the one thing we do to improve this podcast is get some kind of swing analysis, video system going real quick, so you guys can.
Well, we don't just
rip these up and.
Well, how about if we take we'll just take turns and I can prepare a 2-minute video analysis, and then Crafty, you can do a 2-minute, and Cordy, if you want to do it too, right?
You guys are going to love my swing analysis that I bring to the table. It's going to be great.
There's this guy at LeSueur Country Club that I saw who said he shapes it both ways on every other shot. How sciencey is this?
Guys, this was fun to chat. The difference between a driver and an iron, there is a difference. They're different. So don't hit them the same way.
Can I say this? Like, there's a lot more like low. Like, if I told like the average double-digit handicap, they're like, "Well, we fixed my iron swing, but my driver swing." Like, dude, there's a little ball position change. There's a little intent change. There's a little spine tilt change. But bro, we're still gripping it the same. We're still turning and doing whatever we talked about with your iron swing inside of this swing. It's just the intent is a little bit different in terms of launch and club delivery. I don't want people thinking that they have 2 swings. Like, I don't think that that's necessarily a good idea for a double-digit handicap.
Is the spine tilt thing just a setup thing?
I would tell people to do it at setup, and then throughout the intent of hitting the ball over the tree, quote unquote, they would probably do it in their swing.
So I generally agree with that. I teach a lot of people to really get aggressive with the ground force, and I've had a ton of luck with guys picking up a ton of speed, like 10 to 15 handicappers learn to use the cannon and push off the ground, and the early extension melts away, and they just develop a ton of speed with that move. And then I say, well, if you're going to hit a wedge, show me how you just keep the foot on the ground and rotate. And that's pretty easy to learn after.
Okay. Yeah. It's good.
Got it. Cool. Guys, that's another week of the Justin and Luke show.
I did have one person say, I listened to your podcast the other day, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I get
success.
We have 2 fans then, because I think last time we had a fan. We might get another one. Do you think we're hitting the handicap range we should be, or are we going like too deep, or is that maybe good?
I think that this information honestly is more about a personality type than like a skill level. I think it spans from plus handicaps and coaches to a 20 handicap.
Nerds are watching this, whether they're 18s or 2s.
Yeah.
Nerd.
I think it's less
the wonks. Nice.
Yes, it's less about actual like.
Well, and this is what we like to talk about anyway, so I think we just keep doing it.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're just lucky you hit record, so we didn't talk about all this without getting any content.
All right, and on that note, we'll unhit the record. Till next week.